All right, I'm Jason Whitlock. That's Marcellus Wiley, that dude.
Yes, sir.
All right, welcome to Speak for Yourself, the most fearless show in sports. Coming up, it appears we just got more proof that LeBron James is quite toxic wherever he goes. And 1 hour from now, I'll tell you how we've turned the modern American athlete into royalty, and that's not healthy. But we start today in the NFL. All right, you know, Marcellus, with Rick Bucher coming down from the Bay to join us the past 2 days, I wanted to do something special to make him feel comfortable.
What's that?
Blow the whistle. I go on and on. Can't understand how I last so long. Blow the whistle. Two Shorts in the house.
All right, what up?
TMZ cameras caught up with Short Dog last night and asked him about Ezekiel Elliott's Cowboys holdout. Blow the whistle.
The truth is that basketball everybody up in the head. Everybody was like, you get 100 million, you get 100 million, you get 150, you get 180, you get 220. It's up now. Athletes are like, it's up, man. You got to give us some money, man.
All right, I think there's some truth here. The money showered on relatively mediocre NBA players is playing a role in NFL players taking a hardline approach in contract negotiations. If you're Ezekiel Elliott and you see Danny Green signed for $15 million a year in a league that produces half the revenue and less than half of the TV ratings as your league, yeah, you get a bit more emboldened. If you're mild-mannered Russell Wilson and you see NBA stars jumping city to city for contracts worth $150 million, yeah, you tell the Seahawks, have my $140 million on tax day and don't make me come looking for you. Blow the whistle.
Hey, Seattle, we got a deal.
Go Hawks.
All right, do I think the NBA contracts are the main driving force in Zeke's holdout or Melvin Gordon's? No. Zeke and Gordon play a position with declining value, and they're trying to score before their market dips further. They're guys trying to sell a house in early 2008. Also, the money the NFL is handing to its quarterbacks is a major motivator for Elliott and Gordon. QB envy is driving running backs crazy. The biggest stars in football used to be running backs. From Bronco Nagurski to Jim Brown to O.J. Simpson to Walter Payton, the NFL was built on the backs of its most prolific runners. They were superstars. Jim Brown left football to become a movie star and activist. O.J. joined the Monday Night Football booth. Payton, through the NFL Man of the Year award, is basically the NFL's logo, the Jerry West of football. Running backs are justifiably irate. Their place of prominence in football is being diminished. Wide receivers are higher on the pecking order now. But there's no question the leverage and power that NBA players have in where they play and the seemingly ridiculous contracts they command have influenced the behavior of their NFL counterparts. They can't fight the feeling. Everybody wants to blow the whistle. All right, joining the desk now are Fox Sports NFL analyst Greg Jennings and Bleacher Report's Rick Bucher. Marcellus, big dog.
Yeah.
Start us off. Have NBA players been influenced? Have NBA players influenced the behavior of NFL players?
Only if you answer this. What's my favorite word? Rich! Rich! Hell yeah, we influenced by what's going on the other side. The NFL at the top level always takes a peek at the NBA and what are they doing in terms of initiatives and growing their game and what's working for them, what's not. Let's talk about globalization, the NBA. China, India, Africa, NFL, London, Mexico. Oh, we're going to keep pace with you guys. It could go all the way down to salaries. And I think on the player level, there's always been an envy for the basketball player. I'm just going to go back to my initial upbringing as an athlete. I tried my first year track, football, basketball. Quickly realized I would never be LeBron. I mean, I quit basketball so fast because I was like, I can't go up. I can go forward. I can go fast forward. I can't go up. And I think a lot of times, let's just be real about this, we are failed basketball players. I get it. And if you don't believe me, ask, some Hall of Famers like Tony Gonzalez. Let's go and ask.
Greg Jennings.
He
had a basketball scholarship.
Let's go ask Antonio Gates, my teammate, future Hall of Famer, Terrell Owens, etc. So Julius Peppers. Hello. And so many guys be like, damn it, I can't make the NBA, but I could be the man, one of the greatest in football. That comes at a price. That comes with a rung down the ladder, comes at a price. Whereas We have, 21 players in the NFL who make over $20 million? They have 51. Their game is half as big as ours, but there are fewer of them. And it's, I think, a more specialized craft in terms of athleticism, and it's being demonstrated. I think the numbers reflect that.
Yeah. I believe that they're taking a cue from NBA players, but I would say in the nuts and bolts, it has more to do with being more conscious of what their value is and how that's determined in negotiations and being directly involved in that. We see Richard Sherman essentially representing himself, applauding Bobby Wagner for doing the same thing. Ray Allen was the one who first started that. And understanding how analytics and the metrics are going to affect the numbers, I think that's where you're seeing guys being more involved. And as a result, they're taking their competitive nature to the negotiating table and the boardroom. They're not sitting back and saying, I just want my agent, look, my agent's going to tell me what we can get and how we can get it.
Right.
Guys are betting on themselves and saying, you know what, I want to be at the table, and if you're not giving me what I want, then I'm going to go to the wall and try to get it. So I think there's a realization they're not going to get paid on the level that NBA players are because the dynamics are just different.
Yeah.
But in terms of being aware of getting the most that they can get, I would say that they've definitely taken a cue from NBA players.
I agree with both of you, and I thought this article was very well written.
Thank you.
Blow the whistle. No, but there we go. Yeah. No, but I think we definitely look across leagues to see what others are doing, especially the guys at the top that set the tone. And with social media and with all of this, what other guys are doing, not only with their contracts but with their platforms and their brands. Yes, it's a huge influence. I mean, in corporate, as you mentioned, across the board, everyone's always peeking to see what their competitor or what their counterparts are doing to see how can I match up, how can I compare, where can I fit in and get mine at. And it's no different when it comes to athletes.
For a moment this morning when I was thinking about this issue, I kept thinking, you know what, I think it's really unfair for athletes to have their salaries publicized the way that they are. Yeah, I think
I always loved that.
No, I hated it.
Why? Okay, I'm listening to the other side. I always loved it. I don't give a damn how much I make. You ain't getting none of it. Who cares what you know? Like, what does that mean? How does it affect me? Like, I loved it because it just eliminated a false conversation. I hate in the media, hey, man, how much is Whitlock making? I don't know. I should know because you know what? I work with Whitlock. It's just that simple. I don't care. I actually do know, but you know, I'm just saying.
The flip side of that is though that now you're being measured based on what you're making compared to everybody else, and that's not necessarily a fair measurement. We talked about this yesterday in terms of timing has a lot to do with how you're going to get paid. To that end, I believe that what we're seeing right now has a lot more to do with DeMarco Murray than it has to do with any NBA player. You look at by and large, we're looking at running backs are the ones that are holding out. Melvin Gordon, Ezekiel Elliott, Le'Veon Bell. DeMarco Murray, during his time with the Dallas Cowboys, made $3.65 million in 4 seasons. He gave them 29 TDs. He averaged almost 5 yards a carry. If I'm a running back and I'm looking at that, he then went to Philadelphia, fell off. He's out of the league right now. He had the numbers that he put up as a running back says he should have made a hell of a lot more than he ultimately made. And I believe that's what's driving this right now is they're saying, I got to get mine as soon as I show that I can cut it because they're not going to pay me for what I did. It's what I'm going to do.
This leads to my point because, again, this morning I was like, man, I think it's just unfair that all the business is out there. But having all that business out there makes you make a more informed, better decision. And you can look across, and again, I think NFL players, if they really, and again, you can credit NBA players, but what they're really looking at is like, man, this CBA we signed with these rookie deals for 5 years and 4 years.
Ridiculous.
This is costing us all kinds of money. And for running backs, it's killing them. Because we get you for 4 or 5 years, and then we run you out of here. In your golden years when you're supposed to make the most money for a running back is early on.
Yes, I remember Troy Vincent, who at the time was with on the NFLPA side, coming into our meeting room and talking to our team saying, guys, look, listen. let these young guys set the bar. Let these young guys set the table.
Go jump over it.
And when you're up, you will jump over. But guys, at that point in time,
Jealous.
yes, it's envy, it's jealous, it's pride. It's like, no, I don't want this young guy making more than me, and he hasn't proven anything. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, even in the NBA, their system is set up one way, but when those guys are ready to get paid, they get paid, and it's everybody getting paid.
Well, the great NBA players have longer careers, and it's like a quarterback. Quarterbacks aren't getting killed by this because now they can play 20 years damn near.
Right.
And so you're going to eventually get your money. But the average running back, a great one has 8 years. Probably.
And they're devalued coming into the draft.
Yes. And so these 4 and 5 year deals that they're forced to enter into as a rookie is killing them. Again, that's another thing that's influencing them. The information is actually a good thing.
Yes.
And even the information about NBAs, because I do think it gives these athletes a confidence like, you know what, this is our time. We can stand up to these guys. And it's like Melvin Gordon is right now talking about demanding a trade. He's trying to go the Kevin Durant, or I mean the Anthony Davis route.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, I think the real layer is ego-driven. Even though that has a negative connotation, I think it's a positive. You said the information. You look across leagues and you look at a Jamal Murray, who is a baller, but is not an all-star, and he just got $170 million non-all-star in that league. That's half of ours. Meanwhile, I could be Aaron Donald, the best player in our game, or I could be Melvin Gordon, one of the top 10 running backs, top 5 running backs. I could be Aaron Rodgers, whoever it is. You know how great I have to be just to be a non-all-star in the other league that's half of ours? That math doesn't add up. We know the penalties don't add up. In NFL, it's non-guaranteed. Tomorrow, you don't play well, get out of here. And the rewards don't add up. And then you see guys like this who benefit from their system, and you look at our ecosystem financially and say, what the hell happened?
This is Jason Whitlock from Speak For Yourself, and I'm here to tell you to use ZipRecruiter.com as your hiring solution. Hiring is challenging, but there's one place you can go where hiring is simple, fast, and smart. A place where growing businesses connect to qualified candidates. That place is ZipRecruiter.com/speak. ZipRecruiter sends your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards. But they don't stop there. As applications come in, ZipRecruiter analyzes each one and spotlights the top candidates so you never miss a great match. ZipRecruiter is so effective that 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. And right now, my listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/speak. That's ZipRecruiter.com/speak. SPEAK. ZipRecruiter.com/speak. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Greg Jennings is back. We're joined now by NFL Films, Greg Cosell, Howard's nephew. Time now for a big story.
Every day.
Let's move to Dallas, where the Cowboys have yet to make any deals with their 3 biggest offensive stars, with Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, and Ezekiel Elliott still waiting to sign. And while there's been a lot of speculation that all 3 guys will soon be among the top paid at their position, Stephen Jones, Jerry's son, says the team isn't going to set the market.
Yes, he is.
We want to be fair. We want our players to feel good about their contract. But at the same time, we don't want to do things that are out of line or because we can't afford to be that way. I think whether it's Dak, whether it's Amari, whether it's Zeke, they all understand we've got a whole group of young players coming behind them that want to be Dallas Cowboys and want to stay here. And for us to be able to, when we save money, whether it's with Dak, whether it's with Zeke, whether it's with Amari, it's not saving Jerry and I a dollar. It's just money that's going to go to another player. We're very convicted we're going to get these deals done.
All right, do you like Stephen Jones's stance here?
Absolutely. Love Stephen Jones. This entire offseason, he's been winning the offseason in terms of what he's saying in tone to his team and how he's going to build it and how he's going to construct it. Being the bad cop to Jerry being the good cop a lot of times. Go back to April when he said, Dak, your contract has to be team-friendly. And he continues with that messaging, and now it's going to spread to Ezekiel and others. Why should the Dallas Cowboys spend the most or have an expensive team when they don't have the best team? There needs to be a correlation there, and I think that's what Steven is coming to the understanding. Like, look, since we won those 3 Super Bowls, amazing, Daddy. But we went to the playoffs 4 times. Never in one of those 4 years did we win multiple playoff games. Watch this price tag until we get to a place where everything is matching up. What we're spending is actually showing results. Not production, not looking good, not being one of the top players, but it all culminating in some postseason success.
I think they're going to get stuck because I think what happens is it's always the next man up. It's like Dak Prescott. We can debate what Dak Prescott is, but the reality is Dak Prescott's agent is basically going to say that he needs more money than Carson Wentz or whatever that guy is.
That world.
Right. Amari Cooper. We just saw Michael Thomas sign. Likely Julio Jones will sign in the next week or 2. And then Amari Cooper's agent's going to say, well, we want more than that. Whether it's not a matter of worth, because worth becomes meaningless in these conversations. It's the next man up. They're going to have other guys to pay too. They have a premium position at corner with Byron Jones. His agent's going to say he should be paid at the top of the corner number. So they're going to get stuck because when you do allow the market to be set by others, you get stuck with the fact that you're going to have to pay those guys that number or more.
I like Steven's stance because it's what he has to do. In order for this to work, in order for him to retain their current roster as is, they can't pay them all top dollar. However, when I look at it, it's like you're talking about all these guys that you're setting the tone for that are coming up with their deals. But when Tyron Smith was up in 2014, you had him as the highest paid tackle.
Let me get that.
Zach Martin, you made him the highest paid
Right.
guard.
Let me get that.
Travis Frederick, you made him the highest paid. DeMarcus Lawrence, you made him top average. He's the highest paid defensive end. So, like, what are you saying? You're saying one thing, but you're doing another. So you're spending the money,
Yeah, right.
and these guys that are up now have seen you spend that money.
Here's the question from a football standpoint. When it comes to Zeke, okay, who I believe is the best back in football, okay? Are they taking a stand here to say that we are now going to change our team philosophically, we'll pay Dak, and we'll turn the program over to Dak, so to speak?
I don't think that's what they're saying.
Well, I don't know whether they are or not. But
I think what they're saying is, Zach Martin, you know what? You're the best offensive guard. Tyron Smith, at that time, you're the best tackle. I think eventually they're going to say, Zeke, you're the best running back. You other two,
Exactly.
you're not the best wide receiver,
Yes.
and you're not the best quarterback. And if y'all keep playing this game, somebody's going to have to go.
that may be the
100%
case.
I 100% agree with that because they can argue that, and the guys in that locker room, they know. Like, you can't, Amari Cooper, as great as he is, he can't really sit back. He may believe it, but the numbers don't lie. You're not better than Julio. You haven't been better than Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham. You haven't been better than these guys productively,
in his case,
consistently.
the production does not reflect
Exactly.
the
Dak
ability.
Prescott is the same way. And
Right.
when we put the numbers next to Dak Prescott, we always want to talk about how many wins. Yes, but that is a collaborative team thing. He's not the only one that's winning those games.
Well, particularly since they don't play to him. He's
Exactly.
not the guy that defines what they are, either offensively or as a team.
Well, being the only guy up here who's felt the wrath of Stephen Jones, got cut in Dallas, damn it, it hurt. Jerry Jones, I expected it, I deserved it. Getting paid is not the same as setting the market. He's absolutely correct. He's not setting the market with none of those 3 guys. I'll tell you why. Dak, you ain't top 10, you just said it. Mari, you ain't top 5. And Zeke, you are not trustworthy enough to be number 1 in terms of representing us. So we also have you 4 more years under contract with a franchise tag for your position that is going down every year. So let's talk. Y'all want to get paid or y'all want to set the market? If you want to set the market by production, only Zeke should show up. But then when we start talking deeper than production, you need to leave too. So y'all all will get paid, but no setting the market with any one of you 3.
I've
been there with it.
No. I think
Took my money.
you make a hell of an argument. I think Zeke is going to push the envelope just because he's so critical to their success, and he does have a legitimate argument. And you're right. I think Steven has that stance, but to me, all of this centers around Dak, and that's why Dak was the first name he said. and he threw the other ones in just
Yeah,
because he had to.
Clean it up.
But basically, he's talking about Dak. Man, Dak is about to jack this team up, and I don't think that's going to play well in that
Quarterbacks
locker
get
room.
paid. I remember a few years ago, Andy Dalton got big numbers at the time,
Yeah.
and everybody said, well, he's not worth it.
It was a mistake.
Right, and maybe it was a mistake, but quarterbacks get paid. You know that.
Yeah, not now. Andy Dalton's cheap.
Right, so
18
Dak's
million.
going to get paid.
Whitlock and Wiley, Rick Bucher is back with us. Let's move to New Orleans, where current Pelicans and former Cavs general manager David Griffin opened up to Sports Illustrated about his time building a team around LeBron James. Griffin said that despite bringing the city of Cleveland its first title since 1964, he couldn't wait to get out, saying, quote, "Everything we did was so inorganic and unsustainable and frankly not fun, I was miserable. Literally, the moment we won the championship, I knew I was going to leave. There was no way I was going to stay for any amount of money." I'm going to let you start us off, Marcellus. Is this proof that a toxic environment follows LeBron?
No, not at all. I think this is proof that David Griffin has a different mindset than I think you need when you're blessed with the best. A fear of success comes to mind in David Griffin's situation when he self-describes getting LeBron James in the building and literally falling on the floor in anxiety and tears because that wasn't the best thing. I don't know what you're built for, and people are built for different things. I don't know what your end game is, but getting the best player in your sport brings you to the floor in tears and they're not of joy. That's a bad place to start. And everything else follows may be in direct correlation to that affected mindset, which is not a good one. LeBron James is suffering from what I guess superstars and even stars, anyone who ever makes it suffers from. You don't change first. Everything and everyone around you changes first in perception, then you have to respond. When LeBron James lands in the building to go back home to Cleveland and say, this time I'm gonna bring home the championship, I'm already a champion, where's the embrace? Where's the let's go get this? Why the anxiety? Why the fear? It was a little more telling of someone I truly respect than David Griffin and his genius, but this mindset, that was a bad one.
This is proof to me that the fear and the reverence of and for LeBron James is over. Because the reality is GMs and people running teams have felt this way going all the way back to Cleveland the first time that LeBron was there. In terms of the burden of having LeBron James and having him and now Rich Paul involved in everything and everything having to run through them and pass their muster. Every GM had to look at it and say, I'm basically abdicating my role. I am now serving this best player.
Yeah.
That was a price worth paying when it was delivering championships. But now that people are looking at it and saying, he ain't that. Now everybody is speaking out. That was the shocking part, that David Griffin
Put his name on it.
would put his name on it and speak the truth. Because I talked to a lot of GMs and a couple of owners. Remember, there was talk about should the Lakers trade LeBron James?
Yeah, I remember that.
Right?
Yeah.
And I surveyed the league to find out what the level of interest would be. It wasn't there. There was 2-3 years ago, anybody would have paid anything to get LeBron. Now it was, you know what, we're not really in that place. And a lot of GMs were like, well, I got to give up my corner of office to Rich Paul, and I got to do what LeBron James wants me to do. I really don't want to sign up for that. That is what this is.
Yeah, I think and people are going to be upset and they're going to be apocalyptic, but the NBA has created Frankenstein. And he drove a lot of TV ratings or whatever, but it got to a point where it's like, well, damn, no one can control it. No one can, and he'll turn on you very quickly and crush you if given the opportunity. And so, look, man, it sounds like just a terrible rebuke of LeBron, but it's really not, because I think most individuals, given LeBron's circumstances, would do the exact same thing. If I grew up without the strongest parental guidance and had to rely on me. And then I was blessed with these incredible, once-in-a-lifetime athletic gifts that fixed a lot of problems, starting at about age 10. I would lean on that for the rest of my life. Yeah. You couldn't get me to come off of believing in me and what my physical gifts could produce. And so LeBron shows up in Cleveland the first time, and it ends with Dan Gilbert throwing his hands up and writing a letter and like, damn, I did everything. I gave him, and it was never enough. And now I'm bitter. He's a bitter ex-lover. He goes to Miami. Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra wrestle with him for 4 years. Pat Riley has to stop him from destroying Eric Spoelstra. And when that's over, Pat Riley lets it out, goes back to Cleveland. Same deal. Now we got David Griffin saying. And so the common denominator in all this is LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
And so we can point, oh, it's David Griffin and blah, blah, blah. It's this guy, it's this guy. LeBron's the common denominator. He, because of his unique circumstances, how he was upraised, the unique gifts, what his talents delivered him from, he has every reason to believe I am the solution.
Yeah, it's interesting that all the circumstantial evidence can tally to say, LeBron, common denominator, you're the culprit. But that doesn't really address what David Griffin was talking about. Because David Griffin from day one.
He had the scouting report, Marcellus.
Oh, look, reputation can...
When I go to Moe's, they know what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
when they go to the cafeteria, they got the scouting report. They know.
I hear you. Look, reputation can precede you, LeBron, but it shouldn't impede you, David Griffin. And you made the fatal flaw in your head from day one to make that judgment before you even had that experience. And this is why when we talk about championships and how players need to put so much on their shoulder and we give them all the criticism, we never look upstairs with transparency and say, wait a minute, you don't even have a championship general manager. He doesn't even have the mindset to go at this. You just acquired the best player. For hook or crook, who gives a damn? I don't care about his personality right now. I'm going to get all of that talent out of it.
And he did.
And wait a minute. Did he get it all?
Yeah.
Like, think about it. When you don't have the joy, the belief, when you build a path of resistance, even if you get there, you could have got there a lot better without that resistance. David Griffin built that resistance because of the reputation of LeBron.
And because of the reality.
Well, he learned
because again,
reality.
LeBron basically put it in his letter in Sports Illustrated. Andrew Wiggins out, Kevin Love in. That was the first thing he did to undermine the general manager.
And he shouldn't have done that.
And and so that was before they said hello.
Right.
So he told you, no, everything you've heard from Pat Riley is true. I'm about to come here, me and Rich Paul and Maverick, and we're in control.
But what about the fact that David said, I'm better in New Orleans. Before in Cleveland, I was happy just building this thing slowly.
Sure.
Never getting there, but slowly. Who wants this managing expectations in the NBA versus let me go get my chip with the best that could go?
Let's be fair. He hadn't been there long enough to determine that David Griffin wasn't going to be able to get it done in Cleveland. It's not as if he was there 4 or 5 years and they hadn't gone anywhere. LeBron comes back in and saves the day. But this is much like Luke Walton being hired by the Lakers, David Griffin being hired by the Cavaliers. You've been hired to do one thing, and now you get LeBron James, and everything changes. And oh, by the way, LeBron James isn't sure you're the guy for the job. So to have that flipped on its head, I understand where Griffin would look at that and say, okay, but I have LeBron James. I'm supposed to win. The Warriors, that's the issue here when it comes to how he feels. It's the pressure of winning. When you have LeBron James, just like the Warriors in the last year, when you're expected to win and anything else is a failure, that creates a pressure where there's no redeeming value. It's I can only hold serve. I can only match expectation. To me, that's what has you weeping in a closet over this. But the piece that was done, the quote here is, the reason is LeBron is getting all the credit and none of the blame. And that's not fun for people. They don't like being part of that world. This goes back to what we just talked about yesterday and why it becomes so challenging for everybody around LeBron. Because of his greatness, because of his accomplishments, it's always everybody else's fault when anything goes sideways. And if it's success, well, it's because you had LeBron James. That's a very difficult measure to fill. You could be doing a fantastic job. The biggest reason, or one of the big reasons why this show is a success. And yet, if it's all about Jason, and no matter what you do, it's either you're allowing Jason to make this a great show, or, you know what, Marcellus is he's dragging us down. That's a really tough place to live in if that's not reality.
But if it is reality, who cares about the perception of that? Now, I understand that some people are not built for that. And that's why Jerry West needs to hold a damn seminar. And you know who needs to be in the front row? David Griffin needs to be front row, listening astutely to the Kobe Shaq days, to other greats that have played this game, and it comes with the territory of greatness. You got some personalities to deal with and manage. And if you're not in this game beyond roster construction, maybe you didn't read your description of your job title well enough, because that's what it is. Jerry West is still, at the tender age of 80, still out there doing this.
I'm going to say this.
Personalities. Come on, David.
I'm going to say this, though, and again, I've been a critic of Kobe's. Kobe and LeBron are different how they operate personality-wise.
Oh, yeah.
How they interact with management. And look, did Kobe go in there and make some demands? Absolutely. But, I mean, honestly,
but he made demands. The issue with LeBron is it's passive-aggressive. You don't always know what he wants until it's not what he wants.
And I'm just, quite frankly, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but Kobe's more polished than LeBron. Just end of story. And so, again,
what gives you that understanding? The 7 languages he speaks?
Yeah,
I mean,
having interacted with him a little bit, but he's more polished. And so when he goes up there and makes demands, it just comes across a little different than when it's LeBron, Rich, Maverick. These guys have been very unpolished and have been trying to polish themselves in that apparatus. On the basketball court, LeBron's as polished as anybody. In the theater of corporate politics and things like that, very unpolished. And so, again, I'm not trying to demonize LeBron because I think his decisions are understandable. He should at some point reach an age where not all the things I do and desire and want are proper. I think he should reach that conclusion. But I'm not going to, if I'm David Griffin, and when they announce LeBron is showing up, David Griffin knows how many different things he promised to people, he's now going to have to take back. I can't deliver on what I said I was going to do. Hey, David Black, you may get eviscerated here. Some of you players, Andrew Wiggins or whoever, you just got blew up in a letter and
well, not mentioned in a letter,
right,
which means
basically
blown
and
up.
So I think that LeBron is a very unique human being coming through a very unique situation, and there are so many people that because of his success and because of where we are in a society now are so unwilling to question anything he does that it's unhealthy. He can't have the growth. And I'll tell you the other thing. This was my other big point. In American society, we've been having a huge discussion for the last 3 years about do the ends justify the means? At the very top of our political structure. We don't like the way you're going about it. Okay, if you went about it differently, maybe we'd be on board with it. And again, this is what I say about wealthy, entitled, pampered people. They don't care how they get it done. They just get it done. And if people's feelings get hurt along the way, and if the actions are inappropriate, screw you. And people have been upset with me, but I say, LeBron James, he's not that much different from our president. He just comes at it from a different place.
What?
And everybody gets all upset. But when you're born with that kind of talent, and at 10 years old, grown men and women start catering to you for the rest of their lives, and you spend 25 years being catered to and 10 years being a poor kid in the hood, you're more like the 25-year experience than you are the first 10 years.
I agree with you 1,000%, and that LeBron is simply taking advantage of the opportunity that has been given him to shape his world. And I don't know how many people would turn down that opportunity given. It's just most of us don't have that wherewithal. Now, the great distinction, and I think you make an important one, between the way Kobe approached things and the way LeBron did is that Kobe knew what he didn't know. He didn't want to run the whole show. When he got upset with the Lakers, it was, I want you to go hire Jerry West. I want you to go bring him back. I want somebody who knows how to put a championship team together. LeBron doesn't do that. LeBron just says, I don't like this guy. That's not my guy. But he doesn't give you enough direction in terms of where he goes. So you're trying to please him. You're trying to satisfy him, but he leaves you in this gray area of, I don't know what it is that ultimately you want me to do. And just in terms of somebody being the GM, somebody who's responsible for running the show and creating this atmosphere, not just for LeBron, but everybody in the organization, that puts you in a very difficult position because you're trying to serve one guy while you're trying to satisfy everybody. And that's where I totally understand why David Griffin would be uncomfortable.
Give me some of that.
Whitlock and Wiley. Rick Bucher is back with us.
Slick Rick the
Got a
Bucher.
fresh can.
Yeah, dude. Time to get antisocial.
Slick Rick the Bucher.
Baker Mayfield, a real one on Darnell's chest. All right.
A little early there.
Number 50.
I
Top
like it.
100.
Oh, number 50?
Number 50. That's pretty good.
Did they make the
Second year.
playoffs?
Come on, y'all. Let's start from the NFL. With the NFL Top 100 list has officially been released, with last year's MVP Patrick Mahomes landing at number 4, Drew Brees taking the number 2 spot, and my guy Aaron Donald owning the number 1 spot as the best player in the league. Some players didn't agree with the list, though. Bengals running back Joe Mixon, who didn't make the list, tweeted out, "Who else thought the NFL Top 100 was a popularity/clout contest, or am I just being biased?" Guys, do you agree that this list is a popularity contest?
It's not a good list, I'll say that. And it probably is a popularity deal. It's like, Todd Gurley, how can he be in the top 5 after the way his season ended in the playoffs? Why is Drew Brees number 2? That is, the only thing they got right was number 1, Aaron Donald.
Right. I think that's all they voted on for real.
Right.
They just did number 1, everybody walked out the room.
Everybody else
y'all
just
fill in the blanks. Drew Brees is ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Really? He wasn't the MVP, was he? How you beat the MVP? Like, who? If the MVP is not number 1, it has to be someone like a Aaron Donald who's not in a glamorous position that is a beast. So, yeah, it's always an equation. Production and popularity. Just like the Pro Bowl, a lot of things come down to that equation. Sorry, Joe Mixon, you didn't know that.
I'm not even sure production's in it. I think it's just, in terms of rated, look, you got Drew. I like Drew Brees. I'm a big fan of Drew Brees. Drew Brees placed ahead of Tom Brady. That tells you right away this is a popularity contest.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
Brady should be. Wait a minute. Drew
Brady
Brees
didn't
should
play
be
that well last year.
Players,
No.
Drew Brees is more popular. Among
There is a
players,
lot of
yeah.
there's respect
But
for
in
Brady.
production, too.
Okay, but
What do you mean? But?
It's-
I just said production and popularity.
right,
Both
y'all.
categories.
So Anthony Davis made an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and Jimmy asked AD if he was disappointed that Kawhi Leonard decided to join the Clippers instead.
Damn right.
I'm never disappointed for another man. I mean, you're a grown man. Obviously, us having him would definitely,
It would have been good, for the
it
team,
was-
right?
You could have marked it up as champions right there. But
Yeah.
the Staples Center is going to be a lot of fun this year.
It is
got
gonna
two
be a
great
lot of fun.
teams. Obviously, we brought a lot of excitement back to the Lakers organization where we're supposed to be, what all the fans are used to. So that's going to be fun. And every night going into Staples, especially against the Clippers, is going to be a battle.
Do you guys think AD is telling the truth here?
Yeah, I do, actually. Yeah, I really do.
Hey, he's happy?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, you say it with your heart. Say it with your chest.
Yeah,
he is. You know damn well that boy's still crying. Eyebrows curled up, mad. Like, damn, we could have mailed, he even said it, we could have mailed in the championship with that squad.
No.
He's hurt.
Did you see it? When he said it would have been good. It would have been good.
Yes.
It would have been good because I would have been Kevin Love or Chris Bosh. I would have been standing over the corners. So, yeah, I'm really happy for him.
That's a good point.
Yeah, Kawhi now.
All right, let's move to the time now for Darnell's question of the day. Take it away.
All right, guys, so I came across this story online of a woman who just celebrated her 107th birthday.
Woo!
Obviously, we know to make it past 100 is a huge blessing. And
Yeah.
when she asked what her secret was, she said, never getting married. So I want to ask you guys, do you think there's any truth to this?
No.
Go ahead, Whitlock.
No.
Oh, okay,
No,
really?
Hell no. You know how much more responsible I would be if I was married?
Yeah.
You understand? Someone to hold you accountable, that is the key to a long life and probably even a happier life, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Just
keep
keep it
going,
real.
Whitlock. We might get a tear. We might get a
I didn't
tear.
expect
No
that
more Vegas. No more Vegas.
That ain't true.
Man, there are pros and cons to everything, but I do find a greater value, joy, fulfillment, being married, having kids, all of that. That structure, what they say, it's a great thing for a reason. That said, her sister is 102.
Right.
And she's married.
Right.
She might catch up. You never know how this gonna end, but you know what? She's having a happy life.
Who's she dating at 107?
Man, what's out there? What streets?
What you got on Match.com at 107?
She got her a young one, a 90-year-old.
Look at that birthday cake. You imagine them candles?
A forest fire right there, bro.
At a fire station.
No, I think they're proof that the family genes probably has more to do with anything else, and it also has to do with what kind of marriage is it. Marriage is the wrong kind of marriage is going to age you in a whole in a big hurry. I would say the other thing is, what kind of shape is she in?
She looks pretty good for 107 now. I got to be honest.
What does
She works out still. She
mean?
dances, everything.
What does that mean? You got comparisons of other 107-year-olds? What are you talking about? Oh,
She
yeah,
can make
holds
the
it
Sports
together.
Illustrated swimsuit edition for over 100.
You're swiping right or left on this?
She's the only one on there.
Coming up. Before we go further, I want to explain what the idea of a Carmelo Anthony farewell tour tells us about the modern American professional athlete. Over the course of the last 50 years, as television's money and spotlight have transformed the games, an athlete's primary role has transitioned from role model to royalty. Let that sink in for a beat. Role model to royalty. A role model in sports is an athlete who appears to sacrifice personal gain for the benefit of team success. He's a leader. He's a champion. His public persona is humble. He's respectful of authority. He tries to behave in a way that puts his team and teammates in the best light. Obviously, not all stars of yesteryears checked all those boxes, thank God. And obviously, some of today's stars check many of those boxes. Steph Curry and Tom Brady come to mind easily. But what is true today is that the modern athlete in general and a growing number of sports fans prioritize royalty and celebrity over being a role model. Charles Barkley's legacy is outliving Walter Payton's. That's the only explanation for the silly belief that Carmelo Anthony deserves a farewell tour. Portland star Damian Lillard gave voice to this belief. He's campaigning over Twitter for a Melo farewell season. Why? I'm sure he feels sorry for Melo, but it also speaks to the mindset of the current professional athlete. Ask not what you can do for the game, ask what the game can do for you. After giving Carmelo more than $250 million over the course of his career, the game still owes Melo? Really? Carmelo is entitled to another year in the NBA, and NBA fans and teams should all drop to their knees and venerate a man who never won a title, never finished higher than third in the MVP voting, and doesn't have a signature moment in the NBA. Really? This is how the Brits treat royalty. People who have never accomplished anything beyond being famous. We left England and kicked their ass in a war because we rejected the whole notion of royalty and special people. Athletes have joined the royal class in money and in sense of entitlement. You can see it everywhere. Through Title IX legislation, the United States government has spent billions of dollars empowering women's college soccer programs for nearly 50 years. The investment has produced a juggernaut U.S. women's national soccer team. The U.S. Soccer Federation subsidizes their play in a professional league. But these same women have convinced themselves and a segment of the public they're exploited and mistreated. No, they're just entitled, just like male athletes. They're no different from King LeBron James. There's hundreds of years of evidence that parents can go to their child's sporting events without celebrating with the kids on the court during the game. I mean, I watch Dale and Sonya Curry do it every season in the NBA. But those rules don't apply to a king, and Lord help anyone who tries to mention those rules to a king. His worshipers will cut videos and raise hell all across the internet explaining how rules don't apply to a king. I don't like elites. I don't like elitist behavior. I got old school American values. The sports world doesn't anymore. All right, joining us again is Rick Bucher. Marcellus, I'll start with you. have money and fame turned modern athletes into royalty?
No. And not a fan of the word royalty in this question, because royalty implies blood, status, lineage. You know, royalty, as you even mentioned. I don't know any athletes, including Steph Curry, that just rolled out of bed and say, oh, daddy did it, so I'm guaranteed to do it. Think about when you're a son of the king. Think about little Simba. He was going to be Mufasa in the circle of life. It just was going to be. That's how it goes. But that's not how it goes for an athlete. So I grew up in a world where the cool kids were always the athletes. I remember learning this from media and watching The White Shadow and everything else growing up in the 70s and 80s, which you go to a park then, you go to a park now. Every parent is out there throwing the ball with their kids because everyone knows that this can give your kid some discipline, identity, work habits, work ethic, but no guarantees. But at least builds up a person, a character that can blossom into this. But the money and the fame, it was always there. It was just on a different scale. Trust me, when Sugar Ray Leonard signed his first deal of over $1 million, the world went crazy in the early 80s. Remember when Magic signed a 25-year, $25 million deal? We were like, how much? Insane. Back then, I understand that it has grown exponentially since then, but it was always a relative scope of us commoners, non-athletes, looking at those guys with high reverence and respect that they worked on their craft. Nothing given in blood, status, or lineage. They earned every single opportunity.
I'm glad you brought up the financial aspect of this, because what happens as soon as the guy gets paid? Now the criticism changes.
Yeah.
And to me, what this does is that it underscores the distinction between the way the public and the media view athletes and the way their peers view them. They look at Carmelo Anthony and they're not looking at him and saying, you know what, boy, he was stealing money from the New York Knicks. He didn't take full advantage of Oklahoma City or Houston. Yeah. They just look at him and say, man, that guy could ball. That guy can play. And I've played against him. They don't care how he related to the media. It's, can he play? And I'm going to use an example of a guy who, David Lee. David Lee, when he was with the New York Knicks and he was making $800,000, was beloved by the New York Knicks and their fans. Yes. And then he signed the big deal and he went to the Golden State Warriors, and it was all about all the things that David Lee could not do. What had changed? David Lee hadn't changed, and what he could do, it was how much he was getting paid. And I believe that that is the great distinction, is that we look at Carmelo Anthony, media, public, and say, farewell tour, what has he done? And the players look at it and say, man, I respect the hell out of him because he could ball. That dude was a scorer.
Well, I think they look and say, he's part of our elite group, and he should be treated that way. And because we all like him, and he's made a ton, because again, players do look and go, man, he can play. But they also look, man, he made a lot of money.
But they don't begrudge him for that.
No, I'm not saying they begrudge. I'm not saying they begrudge him. But that makes him part of the elite club, because when you make $250 million in this country, you become an elite. For sure. And it doesn't matter if it's through blood, lineage, or whatever gifted to you. You've now entered into a profession that makes you an elite. Just like it's like Hollywood celebrities. In movies and stuff, they've been a part of the elite class and the entitled class, and athletes are now right there with them. And I think the way we treat them is like royalty. We're very protective of them. And again, it's like, because this week, the protection of LeBron James, which we have debated. I sit there as a journalist and go, that dude's worth $500 million. That's not who I'm worried about protecting as a journalist.
Sure.
I'm protecting the have-nots, and he is definitely a have and will be for the rest of his life. And so it's not even in my instincts. This dude got worth $500 million. He's fine and can protect himself. He's someone to be analyzed and discussed and blah, blah, blah. He's not, from my perspective, someone to be protected. But we're in this era now where I do think we look at the elite athletes and elites in general, Jay-Z, Beyonce, whomever. We must protect them. We must worship them. I just.
But
I have no interest.
how is that applying right now? Let's talk about Carmelo, who's not protected, at least by the outsiders, the critics. The perception of Carmelo is he's getting drugged through the mud despite putting up 24 points a game and having an elite career to maybe his peers and those who know the game. So if he's being protected, by who? It's not even the players, because he's not elite to the players. He's a part of what we do, but he's one of the best to do it. So think about it. So there's no elitism within Damian Lillard saying this. He's like, the dude needs his fair due. That's not elitism, like I'm looking up to him. He's like, y'all gonna disrespect and undermine this greatness? You said it. I told you, man, the day you make it, everyone else changes first. I said it earlier. I remember, this is a true story. I went to the mall the day before I got drafted, get my outfit ready for my draft party. Gotta be right. Forgot my bandana, got drafted, went the next day after I got drafted. You know the day when I went in there, before I got drafted, I walked in, paid, left. The day I got drafted, they wouldn't let me leave that store, signing stuff, taking pictures. I'm like, man, 24 hours. So y'all gonna put this on me? I think Carmelo needs to be protected by what he put up, not by royalty, because it wasn't given to him, and not by the outside criticism that is misperceiving his greatness.
I think we also, because of social media, we're more aware of how athletes feel about other athletes.
Yeah.
That's advertised, and we're more conscious of what people, the noise of, that dude's not worth that money. The hyper-criticism of athletes from the public and the media is louder than it's ever been, and we see that divide between how guys feel who are playing versus the people who are watching.
Say it.
The notion of a farewell tour for Carmelo Anthony bothers me.
I hear you.
Why?
I hear you.
Why?
Because
I
I
hear you. I'm
reserve
listening.
that for the Kareems, the Kobes, the Michaels, the great champions, the guys that, to me, prioritize winning over getting buckets. And so when I hear, and look, again, I'm sure some of this is Damian Lillard feels sorry because Carmelo should be in the league. He's not in the league because of Carmelo. If he would embrace the mentality of a role player and bench player, he'd be in the league.
Yep.
I get it. Damian Lillard, they're friends probably, and he feels sorry. But even just the notion of a farewell tour, why? And the only reason he's part of the clique. He's part of the elite clique. He's one of the Banana Boat boys, and he's made $250 million. He's an elite. We should all venerate him. And I'm like, you got to earn that, brother, and it takes more than some buckets.
But there is respect within the league
Right.
for Carmelo that there is not outside of it. That's just the reality. And I'm
That's
not
the
saying
real.
you're wrong in how you judge him. As long as you're consistent across the board, I'm good with that. I'm just saying that the players in the league view it. Derrick Rose is another one. I could give you a list of players.
I got more respect for Derrick Rose. But I'll just say this about the elite players, protecting their elite people.
Yeah.
If Damian Lillard was real, and Damian, I have great respect for you, love you as a player. But if he were keeping it real, he'd be like, hey, man, Melo, bring it back a notch or two, accept being a sixth man and play with the second unit, and you'll be in the league. Instead, he jumps to, man, we need to give this dude a farewell season.
Well, I think you jump to that because what if he doesn't? Like, who cares how he landed his plane? We talking about the altitude he soared at, and you're not gonna even respect that? Who cares about the damn landing? Here's the thing, Dwayne Wade, who's an amazing player, great one, stuck his landing, but he got a farewell tour. I'm telling you, player to player in terms of respect, because you're gonna say the demarcation is Dwayne Wade won championships.
No.
What else?
Dwayne Wade was a better player than Carmelo Anthony.
Good.
Period.
Okay.
In the story.
I don't want to be absolute with you, brother, so we're not going to argue.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what players going to say. They're in the same
And they
world.
wrong.
Yeah.
They're in the same world.
And they wrong.
Here's one.
Okay. Argue with them then, because I'm going to say they're like.
Dwayne Wade's the third or fourth best shooting guard of all time.
I'll give you all of
Small forwards? I got a long list.
We're talking accomplishments
versus
ability.
game.
Pure ability.
Accomplishments? It's
Look,
not even close.
I've said it.
He said he's not talking just accomplishments.
You're talking accomplishments.
I'm talking both.
Carmelo averaged more points in career. Like he was revered as the best individual.
This man carried the Miami Heat
offensive
to
player.
a title With
Shaq
Shaq,
wasn't there?
with the Shaq,
You can
the
carry
ghost
400
Shaq,
pounds of Shaq?
With the Shaq, the ghost of Shaq.
You carrying 400 pounds of
no.
Shaq? That's carrying?
There was some other guys
He's the
involved.
third or fourth best shooting guard of all time.
All I'm saying
this
is
man's not better than Alex English.
Carmelo Anthony has accomplishments, Olympic level, etc.
In our next show.
I'm about to say, don't you do that. They're in the same locker room.
All right, welcome back. Whitlock and Wiley, Greg Jennings and Greg Cosell are back. Greg is Howard's nephew. Let's move to the Cowboys, where Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott aren't the only ones without contract extensions. The same is true of Coach Jason Garrett, who is entering the final year of his deal. Garrett's long tenure in Dallas has been a mixed bag at best, and our buddy Jay Glazer says the coach is on the hottest seat in the NFL heading into this season. You know, I looked this up. He may be the only guy on the hot seat. Maybe Dan Quinn in Atlanta, but will Jason Garrett survive this season?
You know, I'm going to pass this baton to you, Greg, first because I'm interested in seeing what you guys think of Jason Garrett. I'm going to save my opinion.
Well, I'll say this, and then I think you guys as players probably understand this. They've won 2 of the last 3 NFC East divisions, okay? I think it's hard to win on Sunday. You know, I talk to a lot of coaches. You guys know this. It's hard to win on Sunday in the NFL. Yeah. This team has won a lot of games on Sunday over the last couple of years. Now, they've accumulated, assuming everybody gets signed and plays this year, they've accumulated a good amount of talent on both sides of the ball. So what is the expectation? Is the expectation that if they're not 11-0 at some point? Right, January.
You talk about Sundays.
Right.
They're talking
the
about
expectation
January.
is January. So if they're winning during the season and playing well, is he on the hot seat?
No,
not if they're playing well.
but I'm going to answer this question for you. Yes, he's on the hot seat.
So you're saying, in a sense, the regular season is not. And I'm just asking a question here. The regular season is not that important here.
2 and 4
They've got to get to the playoffs, and they've got to win in the playoffs.
It is pending what the regular season looks like.
Right.
But for me, like when I just look at it, like he hasn't won consistently in Dallas.
No question.
Like with talent, and so when you haven't won with talent, it's no different than what Mark Jackson and the Golden State Warriors did. They weren't winning. They didn't get past what they felt they should have been getting past in the conference finals, in the playoffs. So Steve, you insert a new head coach, he's the first thing to go. That doesn't mean Mark Jackson is a bad coach, but yes, he's on the hot seat because I guarantee you, if they don't get past the divisional round, that means NFC Championship game, it's Jason Garrett is done because we have too much talent to keep waiting to see if the coach is the problem or if the players are the problem.
I'm sorry. Can
No,
I just
go
play
get
devil's
it, Greg.
advocate?
Greg on Greg crime.
Okay,
go get it.
a little devil's advocate. So you made a transition from a quarterback, Tony Romo, to a 4th-round pick quarterback, Dak Prescott. We don't need to discuss what Dak is or what Dak isn't. The point is he was a 4th-round pick. That was by consensus. He was not viewed by anybody as a 1st or 2nd-round pick. You made a transition at the most important position in the game, and you've won 2 out of the last 3 division titles. So you can make an argument that he's done a nice job the last couple of years with a quarterback that was not viewed as a big-time prospect.
Division titles mean nothing when you're the Dallas Cowboys and you're America's team. We need to win. We need to hang Lombardi trophies, period.
I think this is a hot seat. You know, classically defined as a hot seat, but he doesn't feel that temperature. He doesn't feel the heat. One, you got to know his mental makeup. This is a guy who switched schools in college, Ivy Leaguer, Columbia to Princeton, went with his father, left. Didn't give a damn what y'all thought about it. At a teenage year, he was thinking, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the beat of my own drum. He gets to the NFL, career backup. You know, I go 8 years, 9 starts. There's not a ton of job security when you're not a guy that goes out there and flashes that you can be a part of this franchise in a winning way. You're a backup. Now you get to this job. You're the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. You think I'm sitting here sweating? I have overachieved already. I'm playing with house money. So, yeah, the temperature is hot. Y'all been to Florida. Picked up your homeboy. Yo, we going to go down to the pool. Okay. He show up, black jeans, shorts on, socks on at the pool. It ain't hot to him. To me, I'm on fire, right? And I'm thinking that's Jason Garrett. He's looking at this situation
Will he survive? Will he survive this season?
No, he gone.
You don't think he will? You think he gets fired during the season?
No, he go.
Oh.
We're betting they win the Super Bowl or win 2 playoff games or he's gone.
He gone.
It's gone.
So you think so if they make the playoffs, win in the 1st round, lose in the 2nd round, he gets fired?
He's gone.
He's got to play in the NFC Championship. For him to survive.
That's the threshold, and I don't think he's going to be able to cross it. And not based on just his coaching ability, just the real of the NFC.
I think a 3-3 start could get him cooked.
Really?
They brought in Kellen Moore
good point. Great
already.
Kellen
to
Moore's
be the-
never coached anybody.
It doesn't
And
matter.
Dak never played quarterback in the NFL.
he's
Romo
Sean
went down.
31 years old.
Sean McVay. That's the new golden boy. You know,
shoot,
if you dye your hair and get a little facelift, they may hire you. You can pass yourself off as Sean McVay. That's what everybody's
No,
hiring.
he's way better looking than I
Cliff
am.
You're in the
Kingsbury.
NFC. You look and see what the Bears did in their
Right.
first
Well,
year
and
with head
that's
coach.
right.
I mean,
NFC,
He
y'all.
ain't Howard's nephew, Greg. Just remember that.
There it is.
A lot of ways.
NFC, y'all.
Uncle Jimmy's here. Help us talk about our approval rating for Stephen Jones, Jerry's son. Uncle Jimmy, who's your big dummy of the day?
You?
You.
You?
You did so
person that
well
said-
yesterday.
Hey, the person that sat up here and said, I just need me a woman to hold me accountable. Hell, you just want somebody to hold you, period. Accountable, hold you suspect, hold you as a person of interest. You just want to be held.
Oh, man. All right, here's a highlight
That was funny.
from our discussion earlier about Cowboys Vice President
Oh, man.
Stephen Jones.
He was going to tear up, too.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Love Stephen Jones. This entire offseason, he's been winning the offseason in terms of what he's saying in tone to his team and how he's going to build it and how he's going to construct it. Being the bad cop to Jerry being the good cop a lot of times.
Zeke is going to push the envelope just because he's so critical to their success, and he does have a legitimate argument. All right, so we had a discussion about Stephen says they're not going to set the market on any of these free agent signings for the Cowboys. Uncle Jimmy, your thoughts?
Hey, man, Stephen Jones can worry about how much he going to pay Dak and how much he going to pay Amari. Facts of the matter remain. Ezekiel Elliott got to get paid, baby. You understand? Here, let me put it like this in language y'all might be able to understand. I'll let you and Marcellus sit up there and argue about whether or not y'all are Dak Prescott or Amari Cooper. But Uncle Jimmy, I'm Ezekiel Elliott. and just like Zeke is the star of the Dallas Cowboys, I dare one of y'all to say I ain't the star this year. Don't get it twisted, all right? Hey, me and Zeke, we the money on the wood that make the game go good, baby. You know?
What is that? Huh? What
Hey,
did
man,
you
I
say?
tell y'all the exact same thing that Zeke told them Jones boys.
What did he say?
Y'all don't get this contract right. I'm heading to Cabo. You'll be able to find me and the blue M&Ms sitting down in Cabo. We'll be eating gumbo, drinking Old English 800, sipping on Reunity wine, listening to Al Green. For the good time.
Yes.
Hold on, man. I want you to say that we make the wood taste good. What did you say?
Wait a minute.
I said me and Zeke,
Don't say that.
we the money on the wood that make the game go good.
Oh,
Okay.
All right. That's
See, you don't understand.
The wood don't taste good.
Yeah,
Whitlock.
all right, my
I'm just-
bad.
just letting you know.
Well, let me put it like this. We can put wood and water on your ass. Hey, man, let me just put it like this here, man. Just think of the Cowboys record with Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
All right? Now think of the Cowboys record without Ezekiel Elliott.
Nah.
Now, look at y'all's record with Uncle Jimmy.
Oh, stop. I wasn't here.
Now, one more. Now, think about your record without Uncle Jimmy.
I wasn't here.
It's kind of like my nephew in a Speedo. That ain't too pretty of a thought, is it? Hey, bro, let's just keep this real, bro. I'm the only one up here that ain't never took an off day. I don't do load management unless it's in my love life. You understand? I play offense and defense. Was not the one that stepped in and took Darnell's spot when he was off.
That's real.
That's true.
Yeah, you
That's
did that.
true.
Hey, I came to work one day. You and my nephew wasn't here. I played all week with the practice squad. I ain't said a word. So, hey, man, Stephen Jones can go to the store with that mess. Talking about we ain't gonna pay Ezekiel because of his little off-the-field skirmishes. Hey, you ain't gonna pay him for that. Hey, Uncle Jimmy done had off-field skirmishes.
Scrimmages?
I done had little off-field discourtesies. Look, that's what make us special. That's called seasonings. You understand? Let me put it to you like this here, boy. If it wasn't for my 5 previous marriages, what would I have to add to this show? It's my life experiences. It's called seasoning, son. That's what makes your food taste good.
That's true.
All of Zeke's little troubles, they just seasoning, baby. Puts in a security guard, just seasoning, baby. He's just showing that he's focused.
You're going to get high blood pressure all that season. You better chill out.
He walked into that little marijuana shot. Hey, man, that's just seasoning, baby. Hey, bro, who amongst us ain't participated in a little bit of weed? Hey, I'm going to tell y'all what. Y'all can play me and Zeke cheap if you want to, all right? Hey, we can show you better, we can tell you. You look up and find yourself by yourself, okay? Look. Hey, look here, man, they made this big deal about Zeke in the French quarters.
Yeah.
Hey, boy, me and Zeke just alike, boy. Like I told y'all at Dre's. When the rug go on, tops come down. That's where I'm gonna be if my money ain't right. You understand me? Me and the blue M&M.
Will you work out with Zeke once?
We will be chilling for the good time.
All right, here's my approval rating for Stephen Jones. I got him at a 51, a scout team, 15 job performance, 4 all-time greatness, 15 character, 16 authentic. Look, he's an executive at a big corporation. You can't be honest in those positions. So
what?
He's
telling his players,
he's trying to affect my money.
I think that's pretty honest. He hasn't paid him just yet.
He's trying to curb the market.
He's an all-star, man. He's winning out there. See?
There you go.
Damn it.
Oh, how did the fans have it?
Did I look at the
fire?
box?
33% dumpster
Hey, Steven
fire.
is doing a good job.
They agree. You got him rated too high.
You got him rated too high. According to that. I like Steven.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yo,